Hello there. Today we are going to go through the poem The Patriot, written by Robert Browning. It's a dramatic monologue. What is a dramatic monologue? I'll cover that later. But first, say for instance, Virat Kohli scores back-to-back 3 centuries. What would the people say? People means us, we human beings. What would our comments be? Virat is the king of cricket. Master Blaster. He's a lion. He makes India proud. He's a run machine. The following 2 matches, Virat underperforms, scores 0, underperforms. Then the same people will then comment, Virat has let India down. Virat is past his prime. So and so. And then again in the next 3 matches, Virat scores well. Then the version would be, the narratives would be, Virat is back, the lion is back. Virat silences his critics. He lets his bat do the talking. This is human gullibility. Gullibility is nothing. Gullibility means sudden change of human behavior, human mood, human perception. Inconsistency of human behavior. Credulity, fickle-mindedness of human behavior. Today we brand someone as hero. Tomorrow we'll label that same guy as a villain. I'll show you some pictures. These pictures might appear to be disturbing because it has violence, but since we all love to watch violence, be it on television, be it while playing video games, so it won't be much of a problem. This is Romania, and this is Nicolae Ceausescu and his wife. President and First Lady. I repeat, President and First Lady. Notice how people have gathered in large numbers just to show support, their love. They are waving flags, they are cheering for them, and years later the same mob will gather to see their leaders getting executed. These 2 characters, they were executed. Years later they were shot to death by the same very people. Same example would apply to Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein, former leader of Iraq. You can see how people have gathered in large numbers. They are cheering for him, waving flags, displaying his portrait. Years later, these are the peoples who will gather to see him getting hanged, getting executed as punishment. Same treatment was given to Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi was the leader of Libya. You can see he's standing amidst the world leaders, so you can expect how much respect this guy used to get. And this is the picture just before his death. He was heckled, he was manhandled, and then eventually he was shot to death. Now, whether these characters were good human beings or bad human beings, I'll not get into that. That's a different story altogether. What I mean to say is, they did not become leaders, president overnight. It just didn't happen in one day. It took years of public support. People believed in them, people loved them, supported them. And one fine day, they gathered to see them getting executed. People used their brains, people used their judgment, their discretion when they appointed them as leaders. Suddenly, they were happy to see them getting executed. This is human gullibility. In this poem too, we'll see that how a patriot, who is a patriot? A patriot is someone who loves his country, who is prepared to defend his country against all odds, against his enemies. So, in a span of 1 year, we'll see how a patriot who was once honored, respected, revered, adored, admired, esteemed, glorified, dignified, lauded, praised, you bring all those adjectives. And 1 year later, the same very guy was hated. He was disregarded, disdained, scorned, spurned by the same very people. This poem has 6 stanzas. All the stanzas will reflect different chapters of the poet's career. We'll start off with the first stanza. It was roses, roses all the way. with myrtle mixed in my path like mad. So in the first stanza, the patriot is reminiscing of his past. He's thinking about his past. That 1 year back, when he was walking on the street, people threw roses at him. Rose is a symbol of love. So all the way, people threw roses. People threw roses. It means all the way means all throughout his political career, it was only love and respect which he had received from his countrymen. Not only that, people also, passionate people acting madly means passionate people. People acting passionately, they also threw not only roses but also myrtle. Myrtle is also a kind of plant. Myrtle is a religious plant used for religious purposes. Just like we have marigold, ganda phool. Similarly, myrtle is a plant which is used on the occasion of Thanksgiving in Judaism religion. So it means he not only had 1 year back, he not only had the support of his countrymen, of the common mass, common people, but also the religious section. So therefore, roses and myrtle. So roses, first of all, roses, two similar words with no word in between them. That literary device is called epizeuxis. Easiest examples: rain, rain, go away, come again another day. Rain, rain. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Twinkle, twinkle. So roses, roses, epizeuxis. Also, roses, as I said, symbol of love. It's a metaphor. Metaphor when two different things with common qualities compared, it's called metaphor. As I said, Virat is a lion. Virat is literally not a lion, but braveness of a lion compared to the braveness of Kohli. So it's a metaphor. Similarly, myrtle is also a symbol of purity because it's a religious flower. So this is also an example of metaphor. This is also an example of metaphor. So people gathered, they were throwing flowers. The house roofs seemed to heave and sway. The house roofs were overcrowded, full of people. So much so as if the house roofs will give away. The houses will lean, sway. Now a house is a non-living thing. It cannot sway unless there is an earthquake. Who sways? Who heaves? Human beings or living beings? Whenever a non-living thing is given living attributes, that figure of speech will be termed as personification. So the house roofs were so overcrowded, it seemed as if it will give away, it will lean. So this is an example of personification. The church spires flamed such flags they had. Church spires flamed. Spires means the conical shaped structures that you would often find on top of religious structures. Okay, the triangular shaped structure on top of a church. So the church spires flamed with flags. People hoisted flags, red color flags, and flags, while it was blowing in wind, it appeared as if they hoisted the flags on top of the spires. So it appeared as if the church spire was burning, it was in flames. So this is also an example of metaphor. All this happened. People threw roses, myrtles, house roofs. People came in large numbers, okay, gathered on the house roofs. Church spires flamed. All this happened a year ago. So he started thinking about the past, and suddenly he was brought back to face the stark reality. The literary device, as I have already underlined, can you see the M letter that starts for these words? Whenever words in quick succession starts off with a similar consonant, then that will be termed as alliteration. Most of our tongue twisters are alliteration. Okay, so that's an example of alliteration. Similarly, flamed flags. FF alliteration. Second stanza. The air broke into a mist with bells. The old walls rocked with the crowd and cries. The poet continues to think about his past. So the air broke into mist with bells. People were also ringing bells. They were happy, they were ringing bells. So many in numbers, and the vibration was so strong that it cleared the misty air, misty atmosphere. Mist means hazy, foggy. Okay, so the bells, the vibration of the bells cleared out the mist. The old walls rocked with the crowd and cries. People gathered in large numbers, they were crying, cheering, so much so that the old walls seemed to be rocked. Rocked means, shake. So the walls, again, the walls do not have the capability to shake themselves, but they are compared to a living attribute, like as if they were shaking. This is also an example of personification. Had I said, good folks, mere noise repels, but give me your son from the yonder skies, they had answers. First, third line, had I said, good folks, mere noise repels, they were cheering, they were shouting so much. When everyone shouts together, you can merely hear anything. So the poet says that he has had enough of their cheering and appreciation. All this appreciation, because they were shouting together, he could merely make out anything what they were speaking. So he said that all your cheering has come down to mere noise. Mere noise. But give me your son from yonder skies, they had answered. And afterward, what else? At that particular time, he had so much of public support that he says, even if he had asked them to do a favor, what favor? If he had asked them to bring the skies from the skies, yonder means distant skies, far away. If he had even asked them to bring the sun, they would have happily obliged. They would have said, and afterward, what else? Fetching the sun for you is nothing, piece of cake. After that, what do you need? This was the version, the narratives of the people. Now, can anyone fetch the sun? Can anyone even go near the sun? No. This is an overstatement, an exaggeration. Whenever there will be an exaggeration or an overstatement to explain something, that figure of speech will be termed as hyperbole. Where is hyperbole? Hyperbole. If I say that easiest examples, I have told you 1,000 times not to do that. I did not count for 1,000 times. That's an overstatement. If I say I can move mountains for you, it means I can go to great extent for you. I can do things for you. Okay? But I can literally not move the mountains. That is also an example of hyperbole. So therefore, bringing sun from the sky is also an example of hyperbole. So as I said, they would have happily obliged and they would have asked that what more do you require? Literary devices, T sound, T consonant, this sound is getting repeated. So this is an example of consonant. A consonant sound getting repeated in quick succession. See, in a single line, multiple times it's getting repeated. So it's consonants. Had this T been always in the front of the word, then the same consonants we wouldn't have termed that as a consonance. We would have termed that as an alliteration, like this one. Okay. And this is an example of alliteration, crowd and cries, and this is an example of consonants again. D letter getting repeated, D sound, the consonant sound getting repeated. Next, alack, it was I who leaped at the sun to give it to my loving friends to keep. In the previous stanza, he said that if he had asked for a favor, then people would have bought the sun for him. But here he says, alack. First of all, alack is a word that expresses the sense of sadness, despair, pity. So it was I who leaped at the sun. It was I who actually went to fetch the sun. Sun is a symbol of, as I said, you cannot go near the sun. So it's unattainable. Sun is something which is unattainable. You cannot touch it. And immortal, sun is also immortal. So it was I actually who used to do things for others. It was I who leaped at the sun to give it to my loving friends to keep. I would have brought the sun for my friends. Not man could do have I left undone. There was nothing left to be done by me. I did everything possible for the welfare of my country, for the welfare of my countrymen. Nothing not man could do have I left undone. Now this alack and not, these are archaic words. Archaic words are the words which we do not use in modern day English. These words were used in old literature, old English. Okay, not, alack, not means no, and alack means alas. Nowadays we use alas. And you see my harvest, what I reap, this very day now, a year in run. So he is now telling us, he is asking us to be the judge. And he is telling us that you can see my harvest and what I reap. Harvest and reap, these two words are associated with agriculture. There is a proverb, as you sow, so you reap. It means your rewards are directly proportional to the amount of effort that you put in. Okay? But that has not been in the case of our patriot. So he is asking us, we are not present in the poem, we are not present while he is being taken to the place where he will be getting executed. We are not with him. So whenever there is a silence audience, like a narrator narrating to someone, a poet referring to someone who is not present there, that will be termed as an apostrophe. So here, you is an example of apostrophe. This very day, now a year is run. Now a year is run means the following year. When we say 3 years running, means 3 consecutive years. So what has happened? Here basically we'll see the poet is actually using allusion. What is allusion? Allusion is whenever you will find out that a poet, in order to give an example, he refers from the past, from history. He brings references from the history, that is allusion. Here basically the allusion caters to Icarus and Daedalus. Long story short, Icarus, Daedalus, Minos. Daedalus was a master craftsman. He was an inventor. He used to build machines. These two used to work under King Minos. After some years, they decided that they will be going back to their own country. They no more wanted to work under Minos. But Minos did not want to leave them. So what Minos did? Minos imprisoned them. He kept them behind bars. Now what happened is, as I've already told, Daedalus, he was a master craftsman, using the feathers of the birds which used to come and sit beside the prison window, using those feathers and beeswax wax which is found in beehives. So using the feathers as well as the beeswax, he made wings and pasted them all around his body as well as his son's body. Icarus, his son. Now they escaped the prison. They escaped from the prison flying. What happened is, while flying, father warned his son, do not fly high, do not fly closer to the sun. What will happen? The wax will melt, the wings will fall off. But Icarus, he became overly ambitious. He tried to overreach. He overestimated his capabilities. He flew closer to the sun. Eventually what happened? The wax got melted, he fell off and he fell into a sea. In modern day world, in modern day map, there is a sea in between Turkey and Greece, which is named after Icarus only. It's called Icarusian Sea. So anyway, just like Icarus who became overly ambitious, who overestimated himself, our patriot also overestimated his capabilities. In the third stanza, in the first two stanza, we see he is thinking about his past, and in the third stanza, we'll see what brought his downfall. So what brought his downfall? His over expectation. He expected that people, his countrymen, will support him throughout his life. He thought so, but that didn't happen. So this is the reason for his downfall. Okay, he tried to leap, he tried to get the sun. Sun, as I said, sun is unachievable, so he tried to fetch unshakable glory, a glory which will make him immortal. But that did not happen. He overly expected. This brings us to the end of harvest and reap. Both are metaphors, and archetype words I have already told you, apostrophe I have already told you. This brings us to the end of the first part. There are 3 more stanzas left, which we will cover in the next video.